So, here we are. The first and last battle for the living lands. Try praying instead of just hoping. That might work better for you. Metaphysically, the battle is already over. Sapadal is free, and the Dream Scourge is gone. But politically, we have a small mess to tidy up. I intend to send a message to the Steel Garrote, and it won't be subtle. Anyway, who knows what tomorrow will bring, so let's be grateful for today. You've earned a little peace of mind. I think that's enough wool gathering for now. Besides, I need to tinker on the phantasmal focus. Make sure it's ready for war. Don't stay up too late. Thanks for talking.
There you are, Envoy. You ready for this? Understood. Same here. I guess it helps we have a god on our side, right? I mean, a god beats a skeleton knight any day. This is just cleanup. Just figuring out who controls the living lands from here out. Someone once told me that war is just applied politics. Never really understood what that meant. Anyway, you should get some rest. Oh, if you need to rehearse any speeches or whatever, make sure you do it in front of someone else. It's not that I don't want to. It's that I'd just rather not. Talk to you later, Envoy. So those green people in the garden, those weren't your parents?
No. We should take a moment to acknowledge what happened back there. You liberated the god of the living lands. Now they are unchained, free to do whatever they want. That's quite a gamble you made. I'm not sure. Too many variables. Regardless, I support your decision. If not for you, Sapadal would still be pacing their cage like a wild animal. Which means you have leverage over a god. How do you plan on using it? No time like the present. Sapadal's imprisonment shaped this island. Now that everything's changed, I'm curious what will happen. We cannot know if the living lands will normalize or destabilize as a result of our actions. Eventually, maybe you'll find some comfort in prayer, now that one of the gods is listening. I hope you don't mind me bringing it up. The subject matter is a bit much for our little camp. You're too kind. I want you to know this has been an unforgettable experience. Wherever we go from here, I'm grateful to have been a part of it. Until next time. Until next time.
Hey, I wanted to say that I'm sorry to hear about the whole Tama thing.
Thanks, Marius. Envoy? Is it really you? Mihala told us you went into some place called the Garden to seek a god?
When you didn't return, we took you for dead.
What did you see there? The god you felt in Nakutadek?
The origin of the Dream Scourge? It was the act of a god this whole time?
Everyone, please, please. We could get to the bottom of this if you would only let them speak. It's been weeks, Envoy. What happened?
Sapadal was responsible for the Dream Scourge. Their rage, their confusion, their fear.
But the plague isn't over. Dream Thrall still litter Shatterscarp.
There won't be any new infections. We've put a stop to that for good. Unfortunately, there's little we can do for those already in the grip of the Dream Scourge. We can give them comfort, nothing more. This will be a process. The Dream Scourge was never going to simply go away overnight.
I suppose it stands to reason. I found that a quick fix is often anything but. What of this god, then? What does it mean that you freed them? Ludwine had intimated that this land grew a new god. But how can that be?
Giata and I have some theories about the nature of the Adra in the living lands.
I'd say we're past the point of theorizing.
If the Adra here is a closed system, like a terrarium for our souls, then a gradual accumulation of essence could coalesce into a being in the beyond.
Much like the formation of gemstones. All it takes is time and the right application of pressure.
Wodka no doubt saw Sapadal as a threat to her authority. So, she killed the godless and imprisoned their god.
I assume it is this god we have to thank for the roots tearing apart Paradise? They erupted from the earth the moment those bastards stood up their first siege tower.
Nakutadek was riven with those things, not to mention what they did to the land.
We saw similar destruction at Nakukubel. If these roots and the Dream Scourge are the work of a god, and the gods thought it best to imprison this god, how could you let such a creature go free?
Let's hope they don't decide to further amend themselves by coming for our heads.
It was Adir's arrival that disturbed Sapadal. We'll have nothing to fear from this god once we expel you from our lands.
Sapadal's power ravaged my people. I don't know that I can ever trust it.
Keeping watch over Sapadal was a sacred task Nandru gave us when he left. For that reason alone, my wardens owe them their allegiance.
Well, whatever happens, I suppose we can't put the godling back in the bottle now. But come, we have more pressing matters to attend to. The Steel Garrote have attacked Paradise. Inquisitor Ludwine has already joined the battle. She must have traveled like the wind to get here so fast.
You did. I kicked her corpse when you weren't looking. Just to be sure.
Well, she's seen better days, but you wouldn't know it judging by how she fights.
Ludwine's plowed through the militia like a knife through warm butter.
All right, let's keep the similes to ourselves.
Regrettably, she's not in the business of making exceptions for people she deems oathbreaker. So long as her passion for Wodika lives, so too will her spirit.
Then we destroy her faith, and the rest of her will follow. I have a theory about this. Let's talk at camp if you want to hear it. But I think we can kill her.
Oh, good. That'll be easy.
It is not, I think, impossible. Well, you might not believe me, but I didn't want any of this to happen. It was Ludwine who called for the attack.
I didn't hear an answer, Ambassador.
She and her steel garrote laid siege to the city, shortly after you beat her to the garden.
We've had no news from inside for several days. From what we can observe, southern Paradis is in pieces, and the remaining militia batters at the gates to no avail.
Is there nothing our people can do?
Given the state of our supply routes after the Dream Scourge, and the Steel Garrote's destruction, we expect the people trapped inside will run short of fresh food and clean water in a matter of days.
We brought as many Hale and Abel from Thirdborn as would come. But after the Dream Scourge and our losses from Nakuku Bell, we could spare so few. I worry it won't be enough.
Likewise, my wardens are still reeling from effects of the eruption. The keep was saved, but there is much to repair, particularly if we are to endure a siege. Most of my men remain at the keep. I can't risk them against the Steel Garrote for the sake of Paradis, not when we are so few.
Well, that's been a point of debate. We can't agree on how to stand against the Steel Garrote, nor who should lead the effort.
Nobody wants to risk their people at the front.
So you let the Paradis militia go it alone?
Even if our meager forces should make it inside.
The siege won't end until Ludwine does. And none of you know how to kill her.
Precisely. The lawful settlement of a new Adiran colony, supposedly. Or the establishment of a Wodekin state. She could win with a godlike in her ranks. Your presence would serve as a powerful endorsement. I don't think peace is her concern. Remember, she has an obligation to Wodica, a solemn oath. And neither the Steel Garrote nor the Queen that was look kindly upon oathbreakers.
Because a victory here would discourage resistance elsewhere. The better question is, why didn't you stop her?
Excuse me? She's a 7-foot-tall skeleton powered by her devotion to the goddess of retribution. This isn't my fault.
Sure. Just blame the dead woman. Very mature.
Who else should I blame exactly? Our envoy, perhaps? For not stopping Ludwine and the Tusks?
You could start with blaming your own incompetence.
Ludwine's the muscle. I'm merely the personality. What was I supposed to do? Frown her into submission?
What good are you as a diplomat if you can't even keep your own beast under control?
The Inquisitor was so convinced the Living Lands would unite against Adir that she's nearly made it true. One people, one law, one true God. That's Ludwine's vision for the Living Lands.
I can't wait to see how you weasel out of this one.
I know it will. We are leading by example, returning order and dignity to Paradis in the wake of the Clavager's death. We will do the same to the frontier, given the chance.
Where was order and dignity when you burned Fior Messivernal?
My administration had nothing to do with that, as I know you know. Adiran rule and rule by the Steel Garrote would be markedly different beasts.
Spoken like a diplomat. Splitting hairs when it all comes from the same head.
Order and dignity. That's what you think we're missing? Bastards! All of you!
You will take it all. whether the chance is given to you or not.
What passes between Ludwig and her men, or between Ludwig and the Emperor, for that matter, is not my affair. But if I had to guess, this was the alternative.
Your empire is doing what it does best. Stamping out dissent until surrender is the only option.
Your republics are hardly any different. Their intentions in the Deadfire were certainly not pure.
As you say, we left the republics for a reason.
I've answered your questions. Now I would like you, all of you, to answer mine. Ludwig has sent a message to the Emperor informing him of her attack. He will send advisors and reinforcements swiftly in response. What will his representatives find when they arrive? A new colony? A budding grave room? Before you face Ludwig, you should know what you're fighting for. All of you must decide, together. But whatever you decide, understand, the days of the frontier are done. Adir will come. Indeed, we are already here. Well, don't leave me in suspense. I believe you'll find the Emperor agrees.
Solus will have no part in this, now or ever.
Thirdborn refuses to be involved. Test our cannons at your peril.
Fjord will be free and practice animancy, so long as I'm on this side of the wheel.
We should never have tolerated a single Adiran on our shores. Our people showed them hospitality, and in return, they conquered us.
It won't be an easy transition, but it'll be good to unite under one banner. Eventually.
It is decided. I will tell the Emperor's men that Paradise will become a colony of Adir. That leaves the matter of Ludwig and the Steel Garrote. She will never surrender, Envoy. Not even the establishment of a colony would satisfy her now. You must kill her, or we will lose Paradise, and eventually the island.
Whatever happens to the living lands, at least I can kill Ludwig. I'll take that over nothing.
She better say her goodbyes while she can.
I'm proud to fight at your side, Envoy. One last time.
Let's get to work then. We've got a walking corpse to bury.
The Paradise militia will be at your back. Give her no quarter. The future waits for you.
Now go and teach the Steel Garrote a lesson they will never forget.
Show them that the living lands will not be broken across Vodka's knee.
We will send reinforcements to help you reclaim the Eastern Gate. From there, work your way to the main plaza. May all the gods of Eora and the living lands protect you.
Let's take back the city. Whatever happens tomorrow, the Steel Garrote can only make it worse.
Time to stop the Steel Garrote. Lead the way, Envoy.
You should get some sleep. Big day coming up. Right. Things feel different now. Wrong, somehow. I've been in a lot of dangerous situations, but it's always been a fight to survive. It's just a fight. Putting my life on the line for someone else's cause. It's the opposite of survival. It's foolishness. You know, I've never seen a bear go to war. They fight for survival, not for causes. We're about to go out there and risk our lives for, what? A concept of how things ought to be? We might die, all to determine who sleeps in the nicest house in Paradise until the island decides it's time for a change. It's fine, really. But it's a blessed day Sokka when you think about it. Right. Careful you don't get stuck in all that sap. I'll be all right, Envoy. You go get some blessed day rest.
Can't sleep? Neither can I. We're going into battle for the soul of the living lands, rallying under the banners of the Paradise Militia. Your Emperor will not be pleased. Political influence is dangerous. If you aren't careful, it can turn against you. When a godlike fights in battle, people take note of which side. The Adherents will doubt your loyalty. The locals will doubt your commitment. You may even doubt yourself. This is the first time you were told to pick a side. And I fear it won't be the last. All we ask in return is that you do the same for us. From what I understand, your ambassador is very persuasive, very powerful, and very accustomed to getting his way. For a politician like him, losing a battle is not a defeat. It's an opportunity. When he promises you the world, don't listen. He'll fill your head with lies if you let him. I'm glad we understand each other. It's good to see you fighting for the misfits and rabble-rousers. Time for you to get some rest. We have a big day ahead of us. In truth, I'm not as worried as I used to be. I've been thinking about the Inquisitor. Formulating a theory, you might say. A Death Guard clings to their existence by force of will. Stubbornness, unfinished business, that sort of thing. Ludwig is held together by faith, and that may be her undoing. Faith is the foundation of her reality. Faith in the righteousness of the gods. But according to her faith, Sapadal should not exist. A new god independent of hers? Blasphemy. By that logic, you shouldn't exist either. And yet here you are. By staying alive, of course. You are the godlike of a heretical god. A contradiction to her reality. Can you imagine how much she needs you to die? Her entire worldview depends on it. Who knows? Maybe that uncertainty is enough to make her mortal again. Or maybe not. I'm just theorizing as I go. Whatever happens, I want to see it for myself. For the research. When I agreed to travel with you, I didn't think I'd find myself at the center of a political upheaval. Now look at us. The very idea of twisting this island into an Adherent colony makes me sick to my stomach. Under a banner of peace, the Adherents occupied Paradise, filled it with their soldiers, masked their true intentions. If you don't think they were responsible for the attack on Fior Messiverno, consider how quickly they turned a blind eye to it. I do not trust them with the living lands, and I never will. So that's how I feel about the future. What's done is done. No point in faking a smile. Is it really that obvious? No matter who wins or loses, the living lands won't be the same. In my heart, I know that's a good thing. Life is impossible without change. And change can be frightening. I just want to put this behind us. I want it to be over. What are you so curious about? Neither can I. I never used to believe in destiny. Life always felt meaningless, like groping through the dark. But in a good way. All of that was before the garden. What are the odds that you and I meet? And after a series of mishaps, I learned the truth about my family's past? For once, the odds were on our side. I don't know if that was destiny at work, but it feels significant somehow. Whatever you choose to call it, a coincidence like this does not happen every day. Let's appreciate it for what it is. Moments like this are few and far between. Pleasant dreams.
That'll teach you!
This shall be a bloody day.
Stop right there.
You asked for
You're
it!
going to regret this. Found you.
We've got
After
company!
Never had a chance.
What was that? Couldn't have done it better. That's done? Who's hungry?
I'm coming.
No one's eager to meet us.
Found.
Run while you can.
Don't worry about the eastern gate. I'll protect your back. Everybody all right?
What are you doing?
I thought you left town weeks ago. About time. You're the only one Ludwig will listen to. I saw a few on my way here. I imagine they've been waiting for this to happen for a long time. Listen, one of the Garot's units is scouting up ahead, maybe 5 strong. I wouldn't want to fight them if I were you. Take this key. It'll unlock the gate to the canals. You can thank the captain who forgot it. You shouldn't find much opposition down there. I wish someone had stood up to the Steel Garot a long time ago. But, well, you're here now. That's what matters. Good luck.
What was that? Aha!
Well, if you insist.
over here. What exactly do you think you're doing? You nearly died in my clinic. Correction, you did die. And now look at you, fighting the Steel Garrote. What have you got to say for yourself? Well, at least you're alive. Try and keep it that way. We're patching up folks as best we can, but I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. War is a damn bloody mess. Yeah, stop the fighting. I can't say I approve of you leaping into the fray, but it's always nice catching up with a former patient. How about you, Giada? Holding up all right?
Well, we have to do battle with the Death Guard, so I have that to look forward to. Do you need anything? Money, supplies?
Once this is over, I could always use another pair of hands at the clinic. The invitation's still open.
After what we've been through, I need to focus on myself for a while. But I'll stop by and visit now and then. Can you manage without me?
Are you kidding? I'm happy for you. Besides, I've got Chico on bandage duty. I just wanted you to know there's a place here whenever you want it. Gods be with you, Envoy. For my sake, try not to die a second time.
That's why I adore Liviana. For a peacemonger, she can be very authoritative.
It's easy when you do it.
I've got the plaza under control.
Wodeca demands your submission. Stand against her and fall.
Let's pay Ludwig one final visit, shall we? Let's make sure she stays dead this time. All right, dearie?
There you are. So, you survived the garden. Did you come all this way just to try your luck again? To kill me more efficiently than last time? Good. The battle over the Living Lands is nothing compared to the war we share. Look around, Envoy. Heelguard should have listened. He tried to bring order through compromise. He failed. Order is meant to be imposed by a stern, guiding hand.
Her order wields sharp steel. She must set down her blade.
Well, well. Hilgard managed to do one thing right. I might actually have to congratulate him on a job well done.
Not before you've dealt with us.
As for you, Sapadal's chains are broken, which means your soul is in their grasp. I don't know how deeply you've been compromised, Envoy. And if I don't know, then I cannot suffer you to live. Judgment has been passed. Now comes the sentence. Steel yourself, Envoy. Make this a fight to remember, even in death.
We would not welcome her death. There is still ample shade for her beneath our tree.
If my theory is correct, you're as mortal as we are.
Explain.
The righteousness of the old gods is no longer certain, and for one of your kind, uncertainty is a death sentence.
Interesting theory. But will you stake your life on it? Would you pit your logic against my faith?
My parents died in the name of research. If I must follow their example to the grave, so be it.
Then we'll see who triumphs, child.
That child will kill you if you're not careful, and I'll enjoy watching her do it.
Farewell, Envoy.
There's no coming back this time. Prepare yourself for the next world.
You won't be missed, Ludwig.
Once I'm done killing you, your god of plague!
We are every seed in the soil. We will always grow.
Come on! Give her a one last time!
Whoa! Queen among queens! Send me your aid!
Mordecai is done with you, Ludwig.
Ethic worth it.
On your right here.
Again!
On your right here. Behind you! Gather round!
Stay safe! Where are you? No! Don't abandon me now!
Wherever Ludwine is now, she must be seething.
Of course, we'd be happy to kill her again, if needed.
She's done for. But we're not. Whatever's next, we'll face it. Together.
Gods, you're all gonna make me sick. But carry on.
Unraveled at last. We no longer feel her wire against our flesh. We are free always. We are free forever.
Silence falls over Paradis, as though the city is holding its breath. Then you hear it, the ringing of a distant bell, the waving of banners, and cheers of victory. After a short and bloody conflict, the dust has finally begun to settle. You feel Sapadal close to your thoughts, stirring with interest. The god of the living lands is observing this moment, unfettered by confusion or fear. For the first time in centuries, they understand. The Paradis militia rallies to you, the outsider who defended them in their hour of need. Whatever happens next, you have won their confidence. You take a moment to reflect on the calm. Not so long ago, you arrived at these shores on a simple errand, which turned out to be anything but simple. The Dream Scourge is over, and the island has been cleansed of plague. A time of healing and mourning follows. People look to you for answers about the source of the affliction. You tell them the truth, how the plague came from a power beyond mortal understanding, and how it is finally at peace. The Living Lands is now a colony of the Adiran Empire. New governments replace the old, and imperial law reigns over the frontier. An age of order and discipline is just over the horizon. You showed the rebels of Paradis mercy, but they can never trust the Empire. Instead, they keep to the wilderness, always 2 steps ahead of Adir, only attacking when provoked. That is as close as they come to peace. The refugees of Emerald Stair resettle in Thirdborn, bringing their skills and research to aid the local community. What starts as an uneasy partnership blossoms into a bond of trust. Through shared adversity, they find common ground. The ashes of Fior Messiverno continue to smolder. Scavengers avoid the ruins, fearful of spirits unleashed by animancy gone awry. The once promising city is nothing but a cautionary tale. The older Thirdborners who remember Rawatai know that life under an empire is cyclical. In time, Adir's might will fade. But the younger kith of the settlement remember what Thirdborn used to be, while having lost so many to an archmage's spell, and straining under the yoke of an empire. Despite the line of Adiran ships bearing fine goods, their rage is a powder keg that sits and waits. For a brief but hopeful moment, Solace Keep opens the fortress doors to the new rulers of the living lands, allowing adherents to come and go as they please. But the peace does not hold. Lacking patience for the Empire's unyielding demands, Mihala shuts the doors once again, issuing a warning. Those who trespass in Solace Keep will not leave alive. The adherents waste no time gathering their forces, for an example must be made. When Kai leaves the living lands, he is no longer running. For the first time in many years, he can face the future. He returns to Rawatai, committed to peace for his people, those he left in Rawatai, as well as those he found in the living lands. He joins the Ranganui's council, counterbalancing powerful voices of isolationism and hawkishness. It is a long and difficult battle, and he is happy to fight it. With many of his anxieties and lifelong fears addressed, Marius now feels very differently than he did when he first met the envoy. Still far more comfortable in the wilds than among people, he nonetheless finds that his worries about the unknown were merely self-protection against the traumas of his childhood. Armed with this knowledge, he finds himself more capable of living in civilization, and far less fearful of his home in Galawain's tusks. While he never regains his former place as a warden of Solace, he spends his time traveling between Solace and Thirdborn, acting as a stubborn ambassador between the two. Giata turns away from animancy, charting a new course in life. The old rules don't apply to her. She has no responsibilities other than herself. Writing, music, sailing, sewing, love. She tries everything, masters nothing, and finds the inner peace that eluded her as an animancer. She still carries the phantasmal focus, but it doesn't feel as heavy as before. In a past life, Yatsley was given a task: protect the history and knowledge of the godless. Now, many lifetimes later, she continues upholding that oath. She moves into the library in the garden, spending her days poring over the clay tablets there. But not even the letters from, and rare visit to, her lover help ease the loneliness that fills her days. Freed from torment for the first time in centuries, Sapadal turns their prodigious curiosity to the people that shaped them. They observe the ways their people live, and they think deeply about what they see. Though they flinch away from moments of violence, and they grieve souls returned to them too soon, the rage that once shook cities to rubble no longer rules them. Instead, they come to you with questions. They want to understand. After a time, they begin, tentatively, to garden. Where they can, they improve the lives of Kith, and the suffering that troubled them is reduced, if never fully eradicated. Their grief compels them to love, and they love unreservedly, with the power of a god. Sapadal pours a fragment of their power into the statue they claimed from the temple of Aethys. Newly embodied, they roam the living lands and learn to experience the world as Kith do. Their first attempts at locomotion are clumsy, and a stand of innocent trees is violently returned to the wheel. But as their confidence grows, so does their grace. Soon, they are bounding across the plains of eastern Dawnshore, leaping the river gorge in Emerald Stair, scaling the shark's teeth of Shatterscarp, and fearlessly wading into the Tusk's acid sea. When they break, they come to you to put them back together, and in time, they learn to fix themselves. They wander far afield. You see less of them, but they are never far from your thoughts, and on the rare occasion they return, they always bring you something beautiful and strange. The sounds of celebration pull you out of reverie. Many are waiting to greet you with open arms. You take a moment to catch your breath and savor it, because everything is about to change.